Did you know the average person today spends less than 10 minutes per week in complete silence? Here's something even more startling. Neuroscientists have found that as little as 2 hours of intentional solitude can trigger significant growth of new brain cells, improving memory, creativity, and emotional resilience. But if solitude holds such incredible power, why does the thought of being alone terrify most of us? Have you ever felt profoundly lonely, even when surrounded by friends, laughter, and noise, or perhaps you've experienced the opposite, feeling completely fulfilled and at peace while quietly walking alone on a deserted beach? This reveals an essential truth that society rarely talks about. Loneliness and solitude are not the same. In fact, they are opposites. Loneliness is painful emptiness. Solitude is peaceful fullness. As theologian Paul Tillich beautifully put it, loneliness expresses the pain of being alone, solitude expresses the glory of being alone. Yet we've learned to fear silence and avoid solitude at all costs. We keep our phones constantly in hand, televisions humming in the background, social media feeds scrolling endlessly. We've become experts at running away from silence. But consider this. What if solitude, the very thing you've avoided your entire life, is exactly what your mind, heart, and soul deeply crave? History is filled with remarkable figures who chose solitude as their path to insight, creativity, and profound inner transformation. Carl Jung, one of history's most influential psychologists, knew this intimately when he confessed, "Solitude is for me a fount of healing. I need many days of silence to recover from the futility of words." Think about that. One of the greatest minds recognized solitude not as punishment, but as a profound source of healing. So here's a bold question for you. Why do we still run from the very solitude that could transform us? Could it be because solitude forces us to confront uncomfortable truths we've spent years hiding from? You've probably felt it yourself, a subtle, almost unconscious longing for solitude after a difficult day at work, a heated argument, or even after experiencing profound loss. Those quiet urges aren't accidental, they're invitations to heal. Solitude doesn't isolate us, it reconnects us deeply to ourselves. It's an opportunity to peel away the masks we wear daily and rediscover who we truly are beneath the noise, stress, and expectations of others. What if, hidden within the silence you've feared your whole life, lies exactly what you've secretly been searching for? You're standing at the doorway now, between the noisy life you've always known and the profound clarity solitude can offer. Will you find the courage to step through? In the crucible of isolation, we are stripped of our external validations and distractions. It is here that we confront our true selves, our fears, and our deepest desires. This process is not easy, but it is transformative. What will you discover about yourself in this quiet, intense space? Here's something astonishing. The human attention span today is shorter than that of a goldfish, less than 8 seconds. Constant distraction and stimulation have literally rewired our brains, yet research proves solitude can rebuild our ability to focus, create, and deeply connect. Still, solitude feels threatening. Why? Throughout history, great thinkers and spiritual leaders deliberately chose solitude, not because it was comfortable, but precisely because it wasn't. Isolation is a crucible, a fierce fire that burns away illusions and reveals hidden truths. Consider Bodhidharma, the legendary monk who brought Zen Buddhism to China. He didn't preach in temples or lecture to crowds. Instead, he sat alone, staring at a cave wall in complete silence for 9 long years. Imagine 9 years facing nothing but your own mind. Why would anyone willingly subject themselves to such intense isolation? Because solitude reveals what distraction conceals your truest self. Milarepa, Tibet's revered mystic poet, offers another powerful example. He isolated himself in a freezing mountain cave, surviving on nettles until his skin turned green. Alone and tormented by relentless inner demons, fears, shame, regret, Milarepa fought fiercely against these shadows, yet fighting only strengthened them. Exhausted, he surrendered, choosing compassionately to witness his fears instead of resisting them. In that moment, his torment vanished. He emerged from isolation not broken, but enlightened, radiantly peaceful, and profoundly compassionate. These stories aren't unique. Across cultures, isolation is universally sacred. Native American vision quests sent youths alone into wilderness, fasting and praying for days to receive life-guiding visions. Aboriginal Australians practiced walkabouts, months-long solitary journeys of self-discovery and purpose. Why is solitude so universally revered yet personally terrifying? Because it strips away every comfort, leaving us vulnerable and exposed. The discomfort you feel when silence overtakes you isn't punishment, it's purification. It forces you to confront Carl Jung's idea of the shadow, all the hidden parts you deny, suppress or fear. These shadows don't vanish because we ignore them. They silently sabotage relationships, careers, and inner peace. Jung knew solitude was essential because only there could we finally confront and integrate these hidden truths. Modern neuroscience affirms this ancient wisdom. Studies confirm that periods of silence literally rebuild our neural pathways, dramatically improving emotional stability, focus, and creative insight. But despite these proven benefits, modern culture continues pushing us relentlessly toward noise and distraction. Why? Perhaps it's because solitude threatens our constructed identities. Our egos crave validation from others, likes, applause, attention, anything to avoid facing our true selves. Yet solitude demands precisely that. It initially feels terrifying because it challenges our deepest self-image, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable reality beneath. But here's the astonishing truth. The very discomfort you feel at the threshold of solitude is exactly what makes it transformative. If you stop running, if you choose courage over comfort, solitude reveals hidden strength, resilience, and profound clarity waiting patiently beneath the noise. You're now standing on the threshold yourself, between comfort and courage, noise and silence, illusion and truth. The discomfort you feel is proof you're on the edge of genuine transformation. So ask yourself right now, will you keep running from solitude, or will you finally step into that uncomfortable silence, knowing that it holds the power to utterly transform your life? Facing the darkness within can be a daunting task. It requires courage and a willingness to confront the parts of ourselves we often avoid. But in doing so, we unlock a deeper understanding of who we are and what drives us. If solitude has so many benefits, clarity, emotional healing, profound creativity, then why do most people run from it? Why does silence initially terrify us, prompting us to fill every quiet moment with distraction? It's because solitude confronts us directly with our deepest fears, anxieties, and regrets. The moment distractions fade away, our minds unleash storms of thoughts and memories we've spent years desperately avoiding. Imagine this. It's late at night, your room is silent, and your phone is off. Suddenly, every fear you've ever buried resurfaces at once. Insecurities about your relationships, anxieties about your career, regrets from your past, all screaming for your attention. You instinctively want to escape, to reach for distraction again. But what if the very chaos and discomfort you're feeling right now aren't obstacles, but doorways into profound healing? Psychologist Carl Jung described these inner shadows, the painful, hidden parts of ourselves we deny, as vital to confront if we're ever to achieve genuine psychological growth. These shadows don't disappear simply because we avoid them. Instead, they secretly sabotage us from within, controlling our decisions, damaging relationships, and robbing us of peace. The truth Jung discovered was this: only in solitude can we finally face these shadows, integrating them into ourselves, transforming hidden weaknesses into authentic strength. This isn't just psychological theory, it's a lived reality. Consider the author Mark Matusek, who once retreated to a quiet cabin hoping to find creative inspiration and inner peace. Instead, solitude unleashed chaos within him. Anxiety, self-doubt, painful regrets all erupted in the silence. He described the experience vividly as a cage filled with screaming monkeys, each one representing a fear or insecurity he'd always managed to keep quiet with distraction. Initially, Matusek panicked, desperate to run away, but soon he realized something critical. Solitude wasn't creating his pain, it was simply revealing it. He stopped resisting and began observing his inner chaos compassionately, and in that act of quiet acceptance, he finally found peace. Wilderness therapy programs report similar powerful breakthroughs. One story tells of a teenage boy placed alone on a small island for 3 days without technology or distractions. At first, solitude overwhelmed him. Without his phone or friends to hide behind, his mind filled with terrifying images, fears, and regrets. Initially panicked, he wanted nothing more than to escape the island and its silence. Yet escape wasn't possible. Forced to sit with his discomfort, something remarkable happened. Gradually, he stopped fighting these uncomfortable thoughts and began observing them calmly instead. He discovered an inner resilience he never imagined possible. What had felt terrifyingly chaotic became a pathway to self-understanding and emotional maturity. Spiritual traditions across history recognize this stage as essential. St. John of the Cross famously termed it the dark night of the soul, a challenging, often painful period of intense solitude when illusions collapse, forcing a direct confrontation with one's true self. But here's what modern neuroscience reveals about this ancient spiritual truth. This experience isn't merely symbolic. It literally changes your brain. Periods of deep solitude physically rewire neural pathways, strengthening your emotional resilience, improving cognitive clarity, and enhancing your creativity. The discomfort isn't punishment, it's transformative purification. Yet our modern society trains us relentlessly to flee discomfort, to replace silence immediately with noise, entertainment, or digital distraction. Why? Because the ego, the superficial part of us that desperately craves external validation, resists solitude fiercely. It fears the inner silence that strips away masks and exposes truths we've always avoided. But solitude's power lies precisely in this challenge. Ask yourself honestly, what if the discomfort you're so afraid of isn't your enemy at all, but your greatest teacher? Could facing your inner storms directly, not running, not distracting, be exactly what you need to finally become your strongest, most authentic self? You're at that crucial turning point now, standing on the threshold of discomfort and growth. The inner storm might feel overwhelming at this moment, but what if embracing it fully transforms your chaos into clarity? What if solitude, instead of being your greatest fear, becomes your greatest gift? Finding the light within the silence. After confronting solitude's intense inner darkness, after the anxiety, regrets, and fears finally quiet down, something astonishing happens next. The silence you once ran from reveals itself as your most powerful ally. Instead of emptiness, you find clarity, creativity, and profound peace you've never experienced before. This isn't merely poetic language. Science, psychology, and history all confirm it as truth. Neuroscientists have recently uncovered remarkable evidence. Intentional solitude dramatically improves brain health. Just 20 minutes of daily solitude increases cortical thickness in brain regions directly linked to creativity, empathy, and problem solving. Think about that for a moment. Just a few moments alone each day physically transform your brain, enhancing your ability to focus deeply, empathize genuinely, and solve problems creatively. Solitude doesn't just soothe your mind, it literally rebuilds it. Historically, solitude has always been a powerful creative catalyst. Beethoven composed his greatest symphonies not amid noise, but during silent walks alone through peaceful forests. Emily Dickinson, barely stepping beyond her quiet bedroom, created poetry so profound it continues touching millions today. Why? Because solitude isn't a creative barrier, it's a profound incubator, freeing our minds from distraction, allowing deeper ideas and profound insights to finally surface. Yet solitude also holds spiritual power, offering profound experiences of interconnectedness and unity. Henry David Thoreau, after 2 solitary years at Walden Pond, described solitude astonishingly. "I never found a companion so companionable as solitude." Thoreau wasn't isolated. He felt profoundly connected to nature, humanity, and himself. Emerson too expressed this paradox. The more self-reliant we become in solitude, the more deeply connected we feel to others. What initially seems contradictory, being alone yet deeply connected, becomes perfectly logical in genuine solitude. Isolation dissolves superficial barriers, connecting you authentically to everything around you. Recall Milarepa again, the mystic who battled his inner demons in solitude. After years of intense isolation and struggle, he emerged not broken but radiantly peaceful, profoundly compassionate and creatively inspired. Solitude hadn't destroyed him. It had awakened him, allowing him to become one of history's greatest spiritual teachers. St. Anthony's story reflects the same truth. After decades isolated in the Egyptian desert, villagers expecting madness found instead a serene man overflowing with wisdom and compassion. Solitude had purified Anthony, freeing him from illusions, allowing profound insights and empathy to flourish. His isolation wasn't a curse, it was profound empowerment. Even today, intentional solitude consistently brings clarity to those who embrace it. Writers who step away to quiet cabins return with life-changing novels. Scientists find groundbreaking solutions after quiet walks alone. Leaders who withdraw into silence discover clear visions capable of transforming entire communities. Solitude isn't escape, it's powerful engagement. Joseph Campbell famously said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." Solitude is precisely that cave. The initial fear we feel isn't emptiness, but our resistance to the profound truths solitude reveals. Imagine now the silence you've feared your entire life. What if it holds precisely the creativity, clarity, and inner peace you've desperately sought in noise, distractions, and busyness? What if the solitude you've avoided for years is actually your truest home, the quiet space where your most authentic, powerful self has patiently waited for you? You're at that profound moment of revelation now. The silence isn't empty, it's alive, vibrant, and profoundly meaningful. So ask yourself deeply and honestly, will you finally stop running from the silence you fear, knowing that within its depths lies everything you've ever wanted, needed, and sought your entire life? Returning with wisdom. Here's a powerful question most people overlook. After experiencing profound solitude, after confronting your shadows and discovering inner clarity, what happens next? Solitude is never meant to be permanent. The hero who journeys into the cave always returns to the world carrying wisdom, insight, and compassion they couldn't have found anywhere else. The true power of solitude isn't isolation, it's integration. History repeatedly demonstrates this transformative rhythm. Saint Anthony the Great, who spent decades isolated in the Egyptian desert, returned not as a withdrawn hermit, but as a powerful, compassionate spiritual leader. Villagers who approached Anthony expecting madness discovered instead profound peace and wisdom. Solitude had stripped him bare, removing every false mask and superficial desire. What remained was pure, unshakable authenticity, exactly the kind of presence others desperately needed. His solitude wasn't abandonment, it was profound preparation for meaningful engagement. Milarepa's journey illustrates the same remarkable truth. After years battling inner demons alone in his cave, Milarepa emerged radiantly peaceful and profoundly compassionate. Solitude hadn't weakened or isolated him, it had strengthened and connected him deeply. His isolation had purified his character, clarified his vision, and opened him to a depth of empathy impossible without first confronting his own struggles. Returning from solitude, Milarepa became Tibet's greatest spiritual poet and teacher, inspiring generations precisely because he'd courageously faced his own darkness first. But solitude's wisdom isn't limited only to spiritual masters. Throughout history, artists, scientists, and leaders have consistently retreated into solitude precisely because silence is profoundly creative. Writers isolate themselves to craft novels that shape generations. Scientists withdraw into quiet reflection, returning with groundbreaking discoveries. Leaders step away from noise, discovering clear visions powerful enough to change entire communities. Solitude doesn't disconnect them from life, it empowers them to engage more deeply, authentically, and effectively. Ironically, modern society often dismisses solitude as selfish or antisocial. Yet genuine solitude accomplishes the opposite. It enhances empathy, deepens compassion, and enriches relationships. Poet and mystic Thomas Merton described returning to the busy city after extended solitude. Rather than feeling overwhelmed or disconnected, Merton experienced profound compassion for everyone he encountered. Precisely because he'd confronted his own inner struggles, he recognized others' shared humanity more deeply. Solitude had transformed him, deepening his capacity for empathy and connection. Think of solitude as breathing. You inhale silence, clarity, and insight. You exhale wisdom, compassion, and creativity back into the world. It's a natural rhythm. Solitude prepares you not for permanent withdrawal, but for meaningful connection. When you truly understand yourself through solitude, your relationships become richer and more authentic. You no longer crave constant external validation. Instead, you offer genuine presence, compassion, and authentic relationships because you know yourself deeply and confidently. Even brief moments of intentional solitude can dramatically transform everyday interactions. A single weekend disconnected from technology brings clarity, creativity, and renewed perspective to your relationships, work, and life goals. Yet solitude doesn't require dramatic, extended isolation. Short, consistent moments alone profoundly reshape how you relate to others, reducing emotional reactivity, increasing empathy, and deepening relationships. This isn't philosophical speculation. Neuroscience confirms it. Intentional solitude strengthens regions of the brain linked directly to empathy and emotional intelligence. Literally, solitude physically transforms your mind, improving your ability to connect deeply with others. Ultimately, solitude's hidden purpose isn't escape, it's profound engagement. You journey inward to solitude precisely to return enriched, empowered, and ready to contribute meaningfully. Like the hero returning from the cave, solitude prepares you to share wisdom, creativity, and compassion with the world. Solitude doesn't isolate. It connects deeply, authentically, profoundly. It transforms relationships, enriches creativity, and clarifies your purpose. So ask yourself honestly now, what if solitude isn't selfish, antisocial, or isolating at all, but instead deeply social, profoundly compassionate, and powerfully transformative? Could intentionally embracing solitude enrich not only your life, but the lives of everyone around you? Are you ready to step back into the world profoundly changed? Ready to share the wisdom, creativity, and compassion you discovered within solitude's quiet embrace? Embracing the art of solitude can be a transformative experience. It allows you to connect deeply with yourself, fostering personal growth and self-awareness. In solitude, you find the space to reflect, to dream, and to understand your true desires. It's a journey inward where you can discover the strength and clarity that often gets lost in the noise of daily life. Embrace solitude and unlock the power within you. If solitude holds such profound power, then why aren't more people intentionally embracing it? The truth is simple, yet uncomfortable. Solitude initially feels challenging, even frightening. Modern life conditions us relentlessly to avoid discomfort at all costs. But embracing solitude doesn't require dramatic acts of isolation. Profound transformation happens right here, right now, in small, accessible moments you choose intentionally every day. Here's something remarkable neuroscientists discovered. Just 15 minutes of daily solitude significantly boosts cognitive clarity, emotional stability, and creative insight throughout your entire day. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning differently instead of immediately checking your phone, scrolling social media, or jumping into distractions. You deliberately choose 15 minutes of silence. Simply sit quietly and breathe deeply, without expectation or distraction. Afterward, jot down 3 things you noticed about your internal state. Such a simple ritual may seem insignificant, yet neuroscience confirms it profoundly transforms your mind, rewiring your brain for greater creativity, empathy, and calm. Yet solitude doesn't just happen. It must be consciously protected and scheduled, just like important meetings or essential appointments. Perhaps every Saturday morning becomes your intentional solitude hour. No distractions, no screens, just journaling, reflection, or quiet nature walks. Consistently reserving time like this teaches your mind and everyone around you to respect solitude's profound importance, making silence an essential habit rather than a rare luxury. Creating physical spaces dedicated specifically to solitude amplifies its impact significantly. Even a small, peaceful corner in your home, a comfortable chair, a journal, and perhaps a candle, signals powerfully to your brain that solitude matters. Over time, simply sitting in this dedicated space triggers deeper reflective states faster. If your home environment feels chaotic or distracting, solitude can also happen outdoors. Quiet walks alone in parks, beside rivers, or through forests naturally reconnect you deeply to yourself and the world around you, enhancing your sense of belonging and peaceful clarity. But solitude inevitably stirs emotional discomfort. Feelings like anxiety, loneliness, or restlessness often surface. Rather than failures, these emotions are precisely why solitude matters deeply. Mindfulness transforms solitude from intimidating silence into empowering self-awareness. Instead of resisting uncomfortable feelings, gently observe them without judgment. Notice how thoughts and emotions arise and pass like weather patterns, transient, impermanent, manageable. Solitude gradually teaches profound resilience, making discomfort something you welcome as growth rather than fear as punishment. Journaling profoundly deepens this mindfulness. Writing down your thoughts as they arise provides clarity and self-understanding impossible amid constant distractions. Your journal becomes a mirror revealing hidden patterns, valuable insights, and clear solutions beneath superficial anxieties. Over time, journaling in solitude documents transformative growth clearly, showcasing your journey toward resilience, authenticity, and emotional clarity. Critically, solitude isn't permanent isolation. It naturally balances with connection. After intentional solitude, deliberately reconnect with loved ones, friends, and family, sharing openly the clarity, insights, and authenticity you've gained. Solitude profoundly deepens relationships, making interactions more meaningful, compassionate, and genuine, precisely because you've faced and accepted yourself fully. Historically, solitude always naturally balanced with community. Native youths, returning from solitary vision quests, shared their insights with tribes, enriching collective life. Monastic traditions similarly balanced silence with active communal engagement. Solitude prepares you to engage meaningfully, authentically, and compassionately, not isolate permanently. Khalil Gibran expressed solitude's transformative power beautifully. Solitude is a silent storm that breaks down all our dead branches, yet sends our living roots deeper into the living earth. Solitude isn't destructive isolation. It's profoundly regenerative, clarifying your purpose, deepening relationships, empowering creativity, compassion, and resilience. So ask yourself honestly now, what if deliberately embracing solitude, starting today, right now, is exactly what you need most? Could choosing intentional silence profoundly transform your clarity, resilience, creativity, and relationships? Are you ready to make solitude a daily habit, transforming your life profoundly and permanently? The solitude you embrace today becomes the wisdom, strength, and compassion you'll share with the world tomorrow.